Guys, what's going on? It's Industrial Dave. Welcome to 6 to 6. I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. I got comments. So, a lot of people ask really good questions in the comments. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a question and I'm going to turn it into a video. So, here we go. We got a question from Paul. It says, I'm a senior in high school trying to plan ahead and think of a career path. I really like the idea of welding and I want to try it out. You've talked about the gas and oil industry, but you've also talked about nuclear. What would your advice be trying to get experience early on? Good question, Paul. So, obviously, there are two sides of that. So, I'll just kind of give you the best rundown. You have to do what's going to be best for you. Obviously, the oil and gas and nuclear, two totally different industries. I don't know how you are as a person, but the loudest one that I could say is your oil and gas is gonna be a lot more outgoing and loud type of personalities. You know, people yelling and screaming, just having a good time. Extremely knowledgeable for sure. One thing that I will say about oil and gas, it's extremely dangerous for sure. Off the back, you know, you've got deadly gases in a refinery, hydrogen sulfide and nitrogen, all kind of stuff. For sure, the refinery is going to be extremely dangerous. Now, another thing about refineries, again, the 24-hour industry, same as nuclear, they don't shut down. If you get into oil and gas, there's only going to be certain parts of the country that you can work in. They're just not prevalent everywhere like that, right? So that's something to think about. Outside, you're going to be working outside for sure. Refineries are outside. It's just not going to happen. If you want to do refinery work, you're going to be outside 99% of the time for sure. But what else? One thing I will say that's cool about refineries is that they are usually in the cities. Yes, there are a few of them that are in the country, but if you do get a job at a refinery, more than likely you will not be in the boondocks away from everybody. One thing that I will say about the nuclear industry, people are a little bit more reserved in the nuclear plants. Just because of the way the environment is, it's really hard to get into. The nuclear plants are very personal. You know, they get into your personal life, your sex life, everything. They want to know everything, right? So it's just a little bit. It can be a little iffy. So people are. You got both spectrums. You got cool people that work in a refinery, and then you have a lot of people that are more reserved. You're definitely gonna learn a lot. You're gonna learn a lot in a refinery and in a nuclear plant for sure. You're gonna learn a lot in both. Nuclear plants are indoors. I would say about a good 70% of the time you'll be indoors doing work if you want to go the nuclear route. Let's talk about the money. That's what everybody want to know. Man, it's kind of tricky. I will say money wise, I'm gonna go nuclear for sure. I go money wise nuclear just because you have an advantage that no one else has when it comes to a nuclear plant, and that's you work at a nuclear plant. A lot of people can't get inside of the plant. It's called a red badge if you watch my other video. It's extremely hard to get that red badge and get in a nuclear plant. So just kind of by default, you beat a lot of people out and you give yourself the opportunity to make a boatload of money. You know what I mean? What else? Let me think of a con. Con about the nukes. Man, they're in the middle of nowhere, dude. I mean, you're just not gonna find a nuke in a city. It's just not the way it works. Most nukes, you're gonna be easy. You're gonna be 40 miles, not 40 minutes, 40 miles for sure outside of the city. I don't know why. You know, maybe back to the 70s because of the Chernobyl thing and 3 Mile Island. The public was paranoid for whatever reason. But I will tell you this. I would rather work in a nuclear plant than a refinery any day of the week. They are way safer, man. It is, you literally got to be a Homer Simpson to get hurt at a nuclear plant. Man, they're extremely safe. Despite whatever you hear or think about people, whatever they say, nuclear plants are so, I would live next door. I would live inside a nuclear plant rather than a mile away from an oil refinery any day of the week. I promise you that. So, and then again, you're gonna have to see which one, Paul, is gonna interest you. You know what I mean? I love the refineries, man. The views, just being high up in the air, the steam at night. It's nostalgia, man. It's just a feeling. It's a feeling that you get when you're at the refinery. I can't even explain it, but my guys out there, they know. And just the fact that you built this and you're a part of, America and the fuel, I love it, right? And then a nuclear plant, you kind of get a similar feeling, but it's like, man, you're going to get to see things that people in the public never get to see, like I've seen nuclear pools. That's so cool. You know what I mean? And just to see and know that you're in an environment that a lot of people will never get to be in, and you're making a lot of money, that's unbeatable. But knowledge wise, man, one thing that I will say is if you go nuclear, it's best to just stay nuclear for sure. It's gonna be hard to it's gonna be hard for you to transition if you start out doing nuclear to go to the oil refineries. Oil refineries they're a little fast paced, and they can be, but nuclear plants are just, it's a different level of slow. It would take you, whatever job it'd take you to do in a refinery that might take 3 hours, in a nuclear plant, it'll take 2 shifts. For sure. Right? And people get used to working like that. So, it can kind of be bad if you get what I'm saying. If you start out working in a refinery, you're on the gas all the time, and then you go to the nuke and they're like, hey, buddy, slow down. That could be a little getting used to, right? So those are things. But if you just stay at the nuke, if you start out at the nuke, I would stay there, and you would be able to move up like crazy and make a lot of money doing it for sure. Work hours, again, they're both 24-hour environments. Expect to work 12s at a nuke. Expect to work 12s at a refinery. I don't really know the schedules that they do if you work full-time at the nuke, but I know at the refineries, they got this funky schedule. I don't know why. Maybe somebody in the comments can explain, but they do a funky, 3 days on day shift, 12 hours, 4 days off. Then you do 3 days on night shift, another 5 days off. And it's so weird. It's back and forth, back and forth. I would never want to do a schedule like that. But again, that's most of the refinery schedules are like that. The nukes, I don't know how those schedules are. I've never worked full time at a nuke. I've only done contract work at a nuclear plant. But needless to say, Paul, both extremely good industries to get into. They're not going away no time soon, for sure. Oil refineries are here to stay. Nuclear plants are here to stay. You're going to have to make that decision and, just keep digging. And hopefully you guys got some information from this video about which route might be best for you. You know what I'm saying? So just look into that, see where you want to go. And then I don't know if I did not say, but again, nuclear plants are always in the boondocks, and they're not everywhere in the country. They just aren't. So you're going to kind of have to be contingent on what part of the country you want to live. And if you do work at a nuke full time, just know that you're going to be living somewhere in the country or in the boondocks, or at least 40 to 50 miles away from the city. So, Paul, I hope I answered your question. And for anyone else who stumbled upon this channel, hey, welcome. Everything industrial, everything blue collar, skilled trades. And I appreciate you guys being here and checking me out. All right. Stay tuned. I got more to come. Welcome to 6 to 6.